Once again, a public outrage forced Karen Elaine Johnson to apologize for a racist remark. And once again, her bosses at Disney and ABC did nothing about it. This is, of course, only news because Johnson uses the name Whoopi Goldberg on the TV and in movies and on The View. And, of course, this weekend's comments weren't the first. In the interest of time, we have lumped her racist and anti-Semitic comments together for you. First, this week's, then her earlier remarks.
The people who still believe that he got, gypped somehow in the election, the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
No, it's about
a different race. But it's not about race. You can't call this racism. This was evil. Mm-hmm. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish.
The conservative group Turning Point USA has condemned the group of neo-Nazis.
But you let them in. You let them in and you knew what they were. Right. So you are complicit.
You would be correct in thinking Whoopi never gets the same justice she demands for others who make, shall we say, insensitive, at best insensitive comments. Ian Samuel here, former Supreme Court clerk, on balance, resident wise man. All right, Ian, let's look forward. Is there anything Whoopi Goldberg could say that would get her fired at this point?
Well, I mean, she's so useful in the role that she has. I mean, I've personally never forgiven her for her just outrageous partisanship against Bernie Sanders in 2020. That probably puts me in a minority of Americans. But I think that at this point, it's relatively clear that as long as she's willing to apologize for each misstep along the way, and that's good, we should apologize when we do bad things, that it's not going to seriously threaten her position. And the reason for that is that I don't think that the viewers of The View are actually all that bothered by this. I think they are willing to affect being bothered when it comes out of the mouths of other people. But if you get the sense that that offense that's taken when other people say things like this is largely tactical, then I think that this is very good evidence of that it's not really about being offended. I mean, you can believe that if Ron DeSantis, just to use an example from the previous segment, had talked about the Romani population this way, it would have led The View for like a week. And hey, maybe fair enough. But it is clearly not something that is deeply felt within the program's viewership, or they would have insisted on her ouster some time ago, and they clearly have not.
Well, I was going to turn it around and say how many racist comments she could make, and the real answer is that the numbers aren't the number of racist comments or insensitive comments. The numbers are the ratings numbers for The View, and if she gets ratings, then she survives. You talk about sort of the hypocrisy, right? Paula Deen, Abby Lee Miller, Roseanne Barr, all people who have been canceled, for lack of a better term, because of these types of comments. Look, one type of justice for Whoopi, another, or Karen Elaine Johnson, another type of justice for everybody else. Hey, you can't blame her, to be fair, for taking advantage of it, right?
No, I suppose not, although I suppose you can a little bit, because if you really believe, right, and let's keep in mind, there are actually people out there, real Romani people in the world, who do find this term to be hurtful, and I get it. And if you really believe in the substantive justice of people being sensitive about the language that they use and the origins of it and things like that, then displays of this kind of hypocrisy actually set that back a great deal, because it gives people the sense that all of this is just an abstract kind of academic language game with ever-shifting rules that don't really mean anything to anybody. But if you think that actually a lot of this stuff does matter to people, that the way we talk about other people really does have some component of substantive justice, then watching it be manipulated like this and just played around with like this as if it really doesn't matter, it's impossible then to convince people that you're operating in good faith when you talk about these issues, because this leading proponent of them is out there getting away with murder. It really does. It's a propaganda weapon for everybody out there in the world who doesn't really want language to be reexamined, who doesn't think that it's important that we talk about people in a way that they're comfortable hearing. And that really is too bad.
It is too bad, because there are things that are said that are truly wrong that need to be punished. And when equally bad things are not punished, it just sort of plays into this idea that it's all about power, really. It's not actually about doing the right thing or not being racist or learning from the things that have been done to these groups in the past. Ian, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
Nice to see you, too.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.